you were visiting Lima, Ohio, and needed a haircut, you'd most likely be directed to Fresh and Faded for services. And the first person you'd be greeted by is the owner, LeAndra Johnson, a smart, handsome, charismatic guy who humbly sees you to where you need to go. But who is LeAndra Johnson?
He's a hardworking individual, stands on business, a business type of guy. Who is dad? Dad is still.
That's my brother. That's my best friend, my brother, the other half of 212.
Role model, a stand-up guy, an independent individual with big dreams and goals for his family, a very hardworking man who is dedicated to his job.
But that's really like my best friend. Somebody that I look at and can show me that the game ain't over until it's over. You know, like if you watching something and it get blown out and turn the channel, it might look back 10, 15 minutes later and the team that was getting blown out got all the momentum.
Actually, one of my very best friends I've had since elementary school. We went to Lowell Elementary, and our parents are friends, our moms are friends, and our grandmas were really good friends. So I guess it was just kind of like a natural thing that we became besties.
Is the closest person to me on this planet. But that's who he is to me. But the other person that I know him as is, he's just a good all-around dude, man.
My brother from another mother, okay? He's a younger brother of mine, but still very, very mature, very strong, just a great person. I mean, he is what I believe to be a heartbeat in the Lima community. And I think that he's one of the most caring people that I know about. He always is trying to find a way to reach out and help and to assist in some way people that are in need. And I think that's a...
Born to James Allison Sr. and Alice Johnson at the young age of 15, LeAndra would be adopted by his maternal grandparents at just 3 days old. It is there his grandmother, Rena, instilled hard work and dedication.
Since 1985, man, we was like 12 years old, 7th grade, West Junior High. We had LaRone as a common friend. You know, I was good friends with LaRone since way back, and so was he. And we became, I'd say he probably one of my 3 or 4 best friends. But yeah, Dre always been a good dude. My earliest memory of Dre was 7th grade football, picture day. This joker didn't have no cleats. He wore some Stacey Adams dress shoes to take football pictures.
Okay, this one is real silly. West Junior High, I would say 8th grade probably. Just messing around, doing stuff. There was like a corner store up somewhere on North Collette. I can't remember the name of it. I think it ended up becoming like that trophy shop. Back in the day, that spot was just like a little bitty store. They had candy and whatnot. We would go in there and get penny candy, all type of different stuff. Just do silly stuff. One night we was walking home from practice, and he threw a little Swedish fish at this guy ride by in a blue van. This hippie looking dude. Well, he wasn't so much of a hippie as he was like a punk rocker type. And he jumped out and started chasing us. I mean, we probably could have stayed, fought, beat him up. Skinny old white dude with a long beard, long hair. But, we laughed and ran. He chased us for a while. And we ended up cutting through the hospital, and he's still chasing us. And like I said, we just having fun, so we keep looking back, laughing and stuff. And one of the funniest things was We didn't see him for a minute. Then he just comes around the corner and it looked almost like a cartoon. You know how the guys in the cartoon, they're in the corner and their feet kind of skid as they make a sharp turn. He comes right and his hair and beard goes left. We laughed so hard he almost caught us.
I moved back to Lima from Birmingham, and I was always a trash talker on the basketball court. So we playing basketball at school one day, and me and him get into it. I didn't know who he was. You know, I didn't remember that he was my cousin then. And so we were supposed to fight after school at 3 o'clock. But I didn't come fighting because I had detention. So he comes over, he tells his grandmother, and his grandmother tells him he's my cousin. So he comes over to my house and like, man, and knocked on my door. So I'm thinking that we getting ready. I think he coming to my house to fight me. So I go get my shoes on and come outside like, man, we can't fight, man, we cousins. So me and him been tight ever since then.
Always crafty with his hands, as mentioned before, LeAndra picked up a pair of clippers and took an interest to the craft, one that would stick with him throughout his life, unknowingly saving it.
I used to cut my hair in Grandma Arena garage too for a lot of years back when we was in junior high.
Set his mind to do something, he always did it. Always. You know, he used to cut my hair in his garage, and this was back in 1986. So he would always tell me he was going to own his own business, and look, today he has his own business.
Seen as a genuine, kind-hearted guy by those that know him, Dre was not above causing mischief in his younger years.
I had this black Ford Escort, right? And I always wanted an Escort, but he got it first. So by the time Dre started letting me drive his Escort, I mean, that thing was cold. It was black, had the black tint. You couldn't even see in it. But by the time he started letting me drive it, that thing had at least like 4 bullet holes down the driver's side door. And you had to turn the steering wheel all the way to the left to even go straight. But you couldn't tell me nothing. We had a booming system. Boom, boom. I had a booming system in the back. It was a little dangerous.
Like 17, 18, I got into a fight at the Civic Center. Put my hands on some dude, but got jumped. Dre and LeRone had my back. You know what I mean? So I always remember that. That was like the summer of 91, spring of 91. You remember that, Dre? Told me my cousin didn't come in the fight. He was like, yeah, your cousin had your back. Way back.
In the midst of dwelling in the streets, LeAndra found himself to be a father, where at a young age his impressionable character would be ingrained into his children forever, into his kids.
Pick me up, hopping in the car, him asking me if I want a massage. Turn the music all the way up, speakers so loud, it's rubbing your back. And then he in the front seat, driving.
I can't remember the year. He had all his kids. We was all dressed up in white tees with American flag shorts, cruising in this all-black Suburban with the red pinstripe.
To see my dad, and my papa put me in the car and went driving around the city until we found my dad, man. And I gave him a hug, and he was just as excited to see me as I was to, see him.
One of the main things I learned from my father was that proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Coming home from the federal penitentiary in 2005, LeAndra vowed to change his lifestyle for good, reintroducing himself to the outside world and slowly building to what he is today.
You could always cut good hair, man. I told him, man, chase that barber thing, man. I took him around to some of my little chicks with kids, cut their hair and their people hair and stuff. He was, he was a barber that would come to make house calls. So, I got him a lot of clientele, worked at the halfway house. He came there, cut people hair, and he parlayed that into his shop. So, initially it was sharp cuts. He parlayed that into fresh and faded. So, pat on the back to me for pushing him to chase his dream. He done took it and ran with it now.
from the game to where he's at even now within the business.
Never a doubt in my mind of the mission that he had, that he couldn't accomplish it. He always pushed forth in all his visions from the time he got out. You know, he started off on Main Street. We was getting up working hard hours, long hours. I mean, I used to go to work with him every time I didn't have school. From Main Street, went to Kibby. From Kibby, he had a vision that he wanted to do something bigger and greater. Then we went to Maine, and it's operating, it's pushing forth and, you know, touching different states and things like that. So he's an all-around determined individual and always had his head on his goal. His goal is always to take care of his family, and make sure that he has something to leave behind for his kids and kids, you know, for generation. Like, he wants the fresh and faded to live forever. Like, that's really, like, that's been his life for, I don't even know how many years. And I appreciate him for also taking the time out to show me how to cut hair, and just showing me how to be a man after his trials and errors, you know what I mean? So I didn't have to go down that path.
Our determination back then, and you know, and this is, like I said, separately, but at the same time, we were just always doing the same thing. You know, we come from different type of families than most of the dudes that ran the streets or whatever. So, you know, we did pretty good at school. We did all the things we were supposed to do. And the only thing that we ever really had to work hard for, other than, you know, like to make teams, stuff like that, we actually had to fight to run the streets. Like, dudes didn't believe in us. Nobody, like, we pretty much had to fight to hang out on our own block. And we did. We made everybody respect us. We made everybody, you know, well, at some point, basically, get out of our way. We went from being laughed at to respected. I mean, I hate that that's what I got to offer as this story, but it's the truth, and it's the journey that we took to be where we are today. Your dad wouldn't be the guy that has the knowledge and the respect that he has today without having went through the things that he actually went to, even the few times that he stumbled. It's the reason why he is who he is today, respected by a whole community, respected by a whole city.
Let's go off of the respected by the community and the city. Are you shocked at who LeAndra is at 50 years old?
Nah, I don't think so, because stuff like this was always actually our plans. We knew where we were headed in life. We knew, like, things that he does now are things that we talked about in our early and mid-20s, to be honest with you. The things that he's done with the barbershop are the things that we planned in probably like early '98 when he first came home from prison. These were the things we talked about, having the type of barbershop that he has right now, doing the type of things that he's doing right now. I don't think that we planned it to be as successful as he is, but we never didn't plan for it.
Get to where you are by not being a determined individual, whether that's with your kids, with me, it doesn't matter what you, that fresh and faded empire is stamped, is getting bigger, so you definitely have to be a determined individual to do that.
That there's a difference in his determination as far as what wasn't gonna impede him from being free, and also what wasn't going to set up his kids and his family to be going inside of the wrong direction. I believe that when he came home from the federal penitentiary that he really set out for a change and to just be better. I think his determination just went elsewhere into not only himself but to those that was around him and everyone that comes in contact with him. You get determined. You feel invigorated, reinvigorated when you get around my pops.
In the short amount of time that I have known him over the last probably decade, yes, he's determined. I remember when we were talking about the purchase of the first shop there, and then it went over to another shop, and then there was these shops that were going to be out of town and in other cities, and then banquet facilities and all these kinds of things. So yes, he is determined. He is driven. If he puts his mind to something, he's going to figure out how to get it done. I think that's a great quality.
Righting his past wrongs, one day at a time, Dre, who once was deemed a menace to society, is now a staple in that very community.
I had to go away for a minute, and I had my hat and jersey store inside, fresh and faded. Nobody wanted to work the shop. You said, man, just go on away and do what you need to do, man, and come on back. I'll run your shop for you, man. I was gone for like 3.5 months. He took care of my shop for me, man, and I am forever grateful about that.
Like I say, all the experiences that he had, it makes him who he is today. It makes him able to pull together things that help hundreds of families when it's time to pass out book bags and school supplies for kids, when it's time to host events that, bring the city together, give people jobs. I mean, he could have easily went and worked from the time he graduated, raised his kids a bit differently, and not have so much to offer the world in the end.
Andre is a Lazarus, man. If you know the story of Lazarus in the Bible, it was a guy that was dead, down for the count. It's over. And God brought back to life. I believe he symbolizes a person, even if you think about, the mythical character of Phoenix, someone that, it seemed like things maybe were not going to turn out right. But he's risen to prominence and continuing to do that. Whether you talk about community service, whether you talk about giving, whether you talk about expansion, whether you talk about lending a hand, whether you talk about the next generation. I think LeAndra symbolizes someone that that God has breathed upon to be able to help and assist a community in his life. And so I'm so glad that he's a friend of mine, a brother, really.
So here's to LeAndra, the man who taught us to never quit.
Happy birthday, Dozy. I can't believe you're 2 quarters. I love you.
Happy birthday, Dad. I love you.
Birthday, Dre, man. I love you. Man, you have always been a big inspiration to me, man. Always. And I always looked up to you, man. Happy 50th birthday, bro. We reached the milestone. And I love you, man.
50? Man, you are halfway there. Man, I just want to say, LeAndra, I am so thankful that you are a friend of mine, a connection of mine, a true man of God. And, whether you feel like it all the time or whether people look at you different or whatever the case is, I know what's in there, And I just want to wish you the very best 50th birthday. Man, I hope you have the time of your life. You deserve it. You're working hard. Continue to work hard. Continue to be a light in the midst of darkness. And I just believe, God, that your best days and most blessed days are still ahead of you. Congratulations on making this notable time in your life. And I just pray to God that you have many, many more. Happy birthday, my friend. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Happy birthday to the day one. Happy birthday, Dre. Happy 50, man. 50. We've been in this thing since 12, though. Hey, man, I love you, bruh. Peace.
Bro, I love you. You already know 212 is what it is. To the day we die, and even when we in the sky, happy birthday. I'm happy to see we made it here, to see your growth from the street to the business game. I love it. Thank you for always being there for me, for my family. I love you. Happy 50th, bro.
Birthday, Dad, LeAndra. Happy birthday. Glad I can tell you this right now. I'll tell you this with all my heart. Happy 50th. 50 years. It's a great milestone, and to where you be at, you can not kick your feet up, but you can sit back and look at what you built, and that's something nice. So salute to you. Happy birthday, man. 50th. What you be saying? 50 boys. Hey, I don't know what that is, but shout out 50 boys, man.
Pops, I love you, man. You really are my best friend. I'm sorry that, we couldn't throw you that big party, but I just wanted to tell you that I love you, man, and everything you do, it doesn't go unnoticed. I keep being you, keep being the leader that you are. Somebody's always watching. It doesn't matter, you make mistakes. You already know this. It doesn't matter about the mistakes that you make or the mistakes that you made. It's always about the comeback, and that's something that you shown me. Keep me and you, man. I love you. Enjoy.
LeAndra, happy 50th, man, from the bottom of my heart. I love you, bro. I can honestly say, if I had to trade every experience that we ever had to race where I've been for the longest now, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it, bro, because what you have meant to me is irreplaceable, and I couldn't imagine anything else. I love you.
Alright. That was good, huh? I'm just hitting